Here's what's coming up on your horizon. Well, according to estimates by researchers at Oklahoma State University, Oklahoma suffered $2 billion in losses from the drought that stretched across the state from 2011 through 2012. And while other states did suffer as well, memories of the Dust Bowl, as well as subsequent droughts in the 50s and 70s, make Oklahomans acutely aware of the devastating impact drought can have on our economy. Today, we travel to a region of the state still feeling the effects from the lack of rain. We head to the Capitol to see how lawmakers are looking for some long-term solutions, and I sit down with a climatologist and ask what the future may hold.
Drier than normal conditions.
Our Andy Barth visits an agritourism destination that is not letting the lack of rain spoil their fall fun, and we end our day looking at the changing colors of the season. Stay with us for Oklahoma Horizon.
Oklahoma Horizon is made possible by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education.
Oklahoma's investment in Career Tech provides more than nationally recognized technology education and training. It produces solid financial returns for the state's economic future. Oklahoma Career Tech, elevating our economy.
And the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping good people grow good things. And now, from the Career Tech Studios in Stillwater, here's your host, Rob McClendon.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. Well, today's show could well be titled The Tale of Two States. When it comes to Oklahoma's water resources, we have the haves and we have the have-nots. Eastern Oklahoma is blessed with abundant water resources, so much so that everyone from private entities to other states have done everything they can to try to share in those riches. Yet head west and it's another story. Water is in short supply. J.D. Strong is in charge of Oklahoma's Water Resources Board.
Oklahoma in so many ways is really the crossroads of America. We're where east meets west. And so in a lot of ways our water resources reflect that. Eastern Oklahoma has always been our area of abundant water supplies, and western Oklahoma has always been starved for water. Historically, that's been the case, and it's not really any different today. And so when it comes to water resources in Oklahoma, we have a really vast difference between the less than 15 inches per year of rain we get up in the Panhandle and the more than 57 inches per rain we get down in far southeast Oklahoma.
And nowhere is the shortage of water more acute than in Altus, Oklahoma. The drought-busting rains that drenched central Oklahoma this past spring and summer completely missed the southwest portions of the state, an area whose economy centers around agriculture, and no rain means no crops. For cotton growers near Altus, Oklahoma, this year's crop is pretty much a disaster.
Irrigation is critical in this part of the country.
And for local cotton farmers like Matt Muller, there's not a drop to be had.
I have a track record of making a profitable dryland cotton crop about 3 out of 10 years.
Odds that are quickly getting worse. Rains that have fallen elsewhere in the state have passed this area by, drying up a local lake that provides irrigation.
This is the 67th year that we've been in existence. However, this is the second year in a row that we've delivered zero water for irrigation purposes, and literally that's the first time in history. Prior to that point, we had delivered water every year, so this is certainly setting historic standards that an irrigated farmer doesn't want to be a part of.
Tom Buchanan manages the Lugert-Altus Irrigation District and says lake levels are down by almost 90%. Sandbars now stretch into the middle of the lake with water levels almost 30 foot below the high water mark on the dam. And it's a problem that's been hard on wildlife here as well. When a golden algae bloom occurred earlier this summer, it almost destroyed the sport fisheries here on the lake. In fact, when the Wildlife Commission did a survey of fish here, they did not find a viable one in Altus Lugert. But it is the economic impact of a greatly reduced cotton crop that is hitting the town of Altus the hardest.
In addition to producers feeling the pain, there are certainly the suppliers of crop inputs that are certainly feeling the biggest impact to this. Irrigated agriculture is high inputs. It takes a lot of fertilizer. It takes the best quality of seed. It takes technology, new equipment, and labor. And all of those things have suffered greatly as the product or the produce of this 46,000 acres has declined significantly.
There was an opportunity to respond to that.
And one of the reasons why lawmakers gathered at the state capitol to study a problem we've seen before.
Not a scientific survey.
I think we've always reacted to drought rather than prepare for drought. I think as we hopefully learned what we learned with this drought, maybe going forward to hopefully maybe prepare for the next one.
Representative Don Arms lives in southwestern Oklahoma and has seen firsthand the damage done by the drought.
We can't fix this drought. I mean, we in government think we can fix anything. We can't. This is not something we can. This is a God thing. I mean, this is not the kind of thing we have any input on fixing. What we can do is manage, and that's what I think we need to learn to do is how do you manage this drought? How do you get producers through it? How do you get municipalities through it? Small towns. I think it's a management issue more than anything.
And few have had a harder time managing this current drought than Oklahoma cattlemen.
It's cost an extensive amount of dollars individually as well as our whole industry. If you consider just the number of cows that we've sold and reduced our cow herd, Oklahoma's cow herd.
Michael Kelsey heads the Oklahoma Cattlemen's Association and says for producers that have kept their cattle, feed costs have skyrocketed.
For instance, one producer shared with us that his cost before the drought was about $660 per cow. Now his cost during the drought was $850 per cow. That's an extreme increase in the cost per cow.
A rising cost that consumers may soon feel as a bump in prices at the meat counter.
The drought is a gradual process in and it's a gradual process out. And those increased costs, those increased food costs are going to be long term. Those won't be short term. In other words, we won't turn those off immediately or decrease those immediately. That'll take a while for us to rebuild our supply, rebuild those supplies of food, the process of producing food for the consumer, and that's going to take a while.
And money. Governor Fallin declared Oklahoma's 5 most southwestern counties a disaster area, a designation that will help but won't solve the lack of rain.
Drought is not as dramatic. Tornadoes are dramatic, but it's easy to pump money into tornado relief. It's a little harder for people to pump money as far as from a state capital or anywhere else. It's a little harder to pump money into a drought because it's just not as dramatic. There's not much flash to it.
But it is as impactful as anything Oklahomans may face. And Tom Buchanan tells me with no relief in sight, some area farmers are re-examining their business model. Cotton has been king in southwest Oklahoma, but cotton is a thirsty crop and needs irrigation to get the yields farmers depend upon. Well, across the state, new regulations on the sensitive Arbuckle-Simpson Aquifer have some people happy and others worried. Oklahoma's Water Resources Board voted to drastically reduce the amount of water users can draw out of the rain-fed aquifer. Now, the Arbuckle-Simpson Aquifer serves as the primary source of municipal water for Ada, Durant, and a number of small south central Oklahoma towns. For over a decade, residents of the area have fought efforts to sell water out of the aquifer.
So we know that those springs and streams are unique and precious in south central Oklahoma and really to the state as a whole, and that it takes some additional regulation and management to protect those springs and streams, in particular the connection between groundwater pumpage and the flows of those springs and streams.
But under the new rules that can still be appealed, users will be limited to roughly 10% of their current usage. When we return, my conversation with a state climatologist.
You're watching Oklahoma Horizon, featuring some of the good things that are happening in the great state of Oklahoma.
Well, if the drought of 2011 through 2012 is indeed over for much of the state, it, while intense, will be rather fleeting from a historical perspective. That is, if it's over. Climatologists, those people who look not just at today's weather, but long-term weather trends, know that in past droughts, there have been periods of heavy rains, even flooding, much like what central Oklahoma experienced earlier this year. Earlier, I sat down with Gary McManus, Associate State Climatologist, to look at the big picture. Well, Gary, if you will you take us back to when this current drought started and how did we get here?
Well, we really look back towards just about the late fall of 2010. Now, that would be what we would consider the official start. We could probably take it all the way back to the summer of 2010 in some places. But, you know, when we speak about the current drought cycle, really about October 2010, so just about 3 years ago.
How does this drought compare to the droughts of the past?
Well, when we talk about the most famous droughts in Oklahoma's history, we're really talking the 1930s drought, of course, which is the Dust Bowl drought. Shockingly to most people, the 1950s drought is the worst drought of record, at least in the modern record of Oklahoma history, the 50s drought. And then there was drought in the 19-teens. Now, each one of those droughts has its own characteristics. The 1930s drought was more of a northern plains, out western Oklahoma drought, even though it was bad across the entire state. The 50s drought, though, for the main body of the state was very bad. And this drought is starting to resemble those types of droughts. Now, one of the big differences is those droughts lasted from 5 to 10 years. We would say this drought has been about 3 years. But it resembles those droughts in that it had its periods of wet weather interspersed with longer periods of dry weather. Now, if you talk to somebody, let's say in central Oklahoma, they might say, well, the drought's gone right now. But if you talk to somebody down in southwestern Oklahoma or in the Panhandle, they've had 3 straight years of drought. So, you know, it really depends on where you're at, but this drought is starting to resemble those most famous droughts of our past.
And I think it's an important point to make that some of the most significant flooding we've had in the state was back in the 30s, actually during the drought of the 30s in a different part of the state.
Right. Now, of course, we had the Hammond flood that killed, I can't remember how many, but it was extremely disastrous. They had like 10 inches of rain over a 6-hour period that flooded out there. And, you know, during this current drought situation, Oklahoma City is on its way to possibly its second wettest year on record. And we had the disastrous floods with the May 31st tornado event. So when all those people died from flooding. So during droughts, what happens is you have the ground gets baked hard by the sun and it dries out. And so when the rain does fall, that water runs off very rapidly and it creates flash flooding situations. So, you know, we had some of our worst droughts in history during the 1930s and also some of our worst water erosion, not only wind erosion, which is very famous in the dust storms, but also soil erosion from water during the 1930s because there's not the vegetation there to hold to stop that water from running off and holding it in place.
So if I ask you the question, is our drought over? Does it depend where you are, how you answer that?
Well, if I was to go down to Altus and say to somebody down there that the drought was over, I'd probably get punched in the face. Now, if I go to somewhere like Oklahoma City, they're probably going to say, sure, the drought's over. We've had one of our wettest years on record. So it really just depends on where you're at. If you're along the southern edge of the state and the western edge and the Panhandle, you're in a drought situation. And, you know, the drought can obviously wax and wane throughout certain periods, but for those parts of the state, it's been a long-term 3-year drought situation.
Now, I think we've all heard the terms El Nino and La Nina. I really don't know what they are, and they're behind some of this, are they not?
Yeah, the La Nina and El Nino is part of an oscillation down along the equatorial Pacific off the west coast of South America, where the oceanic temperatures change, and that changes the wind patterns down there. It's sort of a chicken and egg thing. What comes first? They sort of work hand in hand. But when you get,
are we in a certain one right now?
Right now we're in neutral. So there is a third part to that oscillation, which is neutral. When we get La Nina, which is cooler than normal oceanic waters down there, it tends to bring the southern tier of the United States warmer and drier weather, and that's what we've seen over the last 3 years. Now, this last year we've been in neutral situation, so we've sort of had a comeback period. But through 2010 through 2012, we've been in La Nina situations. Now, when we get El Nino situations, which is a warming of the waters, that's when the southern tier of the United States can get cooler and wetter weather. Now, it doesn't always work out that way every time, but it just sort of increases the odds.
So you say we're in a neutral situation. Could I extrapolate that we're going to be going from a La Nina into an El Nino?
No, you really can't. When we get these periods of neutral conditions, you're really just at the mercy of Mother Nature. So when you have a La Nina situation, if for instance, if we saw a La Nina building in the Equatorial Pacific right now, we might say this might mean that through October through April, we would see warmer and drier weather than normal. But since we're in neutral, we don't have anything to tilt the odds in either way. So we just say, whatever happens, happens, which is the classic meteorological forecast. It's the way that we really cover ourselves, of course.
So the severity of this latest drought, is it amplified by the fact that we were actually in a very wet period of our state's history?
And that's a very good way to put it, because from the 1980s through the early 2000s, it was really one of our wettest, most consistently wet and unusually wet periods in at least in the last 115 years. So it gave the state sort of a false sense of security when it came to water. We hadn't seen the droughts of the 1930s and the 1950s in so long. So when we started to get these short but very severe droughts, we saw it in 2005, 2006, a little bit in 2008, and then the sort of the throwback drought that we're in now, it's really a shock to the system. It's really a call to say, for those folks that lived through the 30s and the 50s, what was it like back then, and what did you do to get through those droughts?
Mm-hmm. Now, this may well be an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's the future look like? What
we see now in other parts of the oceans, we might say, we're in for an extended period of more La Niñas, fewer El Niños, which would in turn translate to drier than normal conditions as opposed to wetter than normal that we saw from the 80s through the early 2000s.
Yeah, and I want to show this graphic that you brought with you that shows how short this current drought actually is in perspective to the others.
Right, it is a little bit scary, and then, when you take a look at this 3-year drought compared to the 5-6 year drought of the 50s, or the 10-11 year drought of the 1930s, and even that 10 to 11 year period during the 19-teens, it looks like an infant. But if you even go farther back and look at paleoclimate data, things like tree rings, we know that there were droughts in our recent past of the last 200 years that lasted, upwards of 25 to 50 years. So even looking farther back, this drought is still just a baby. Now, we could come out of this drought for another 5 years, which would certainly be wonderful, but it definitely bears watching.
And how do we come out? Does it take a certain amount of rain?
Well, the type of rainfall we've seen in central Oklahoma across the entire state would certainly be wonderful. Central Oklahoma is headed to one of its wettest years on record, but you really need that rainfall to continue. And of course, in agriculture, it's always the timing. So some people may not realize that while they're out of drought, their reservoirs might be full. The farmers need rainfall, so we need rainfall to continue on a steady pace. Winter's not that important, but when we start to get into the warm season and the evaporation starts to kick in again, and the plants start needing that water, that's when we need the rains to continue. So we need a really good spring, which we had this year, but we also need that fall rainfall, which is our secondary rainy season.
Now, we are blessed here in the state with a lot of water resources, even though we have been in a drought the past few years. What is your best advice to our state leaders? Because we talk a lot about these water resources. What should we be thinking about from a climatologist's standpoint?
Well, you need look no further than what happened with Canton Lake and Lake Hefner in Oklahoma City. Being a weather historian and a climatologist, I'm always going to err on the side of caution. When Lake Hefner and the Oklahoma City water supply started to diminish, they took that water from Lake Canton, and Lake Canton now sits at one of its lowest levels on record, down about 20% of capacity. Lake Altus Lugard is down to about 12%, and the same thing for Altus's water supply, Lake Tom Steed. Knowing what's happened in the past, I would urge conservation at all times. The 1980s through the early 2000s were certainly wonderful. Nobody had to worry about their water supply, but now we see communities going into water emergencies, and that's with periods of rainfall even occurring. So, again, err on the side of caution. Remember our history. Remember what the folks in the 50s and the 30s had to go through and always remember that water is a limited resource.
All right, fascinating talk. Gary McManus, Associate State Climatologist.
Still to come on Oklahoma Horizon, the changing colors of the season. But first, a fall festival.
Well, economically, agriculture has been the most directly impacted by the drought, but like they've learned to do on a somewhat regular basis, state ag producers persevere. Joining me now from a fall festival that is going on despite a short crop is our Andy Barth.
That's right, Rob. We're out here at Rocking Star Farms just west of Stillwater for Pumpkin Palooza. It's an agritourism event designed to get people in the mood for fall while teaching them a little bit about agriculture.
With animals in place and pumpkins ready to be picked, Rockin' Star Farms is geared up for all things fall.
I like to call it agritainment experience.
Rachel Pickens is the owner of Rockin' Star Farms and says her goal is to tell agriculture story.
I grew up in an agricultural background, and my philosophy is that education is by far the key to success. So I just feel like it's almost my duty to educate the public about the food and fiber industry that has done so much for me as well as my family.
When Pickens started her agritourism business, a corn maze was the big fall focus. But thanks to Mother Nature in Oklahoma, no maize can be found.
So this year, we didn't plant the maize, but we thought we'd still open no matter what and to give the people still the experience.
Yet, despite missing a major component, Pickens still offers an educational experience. And it all started with help from the Department of Agriculture. Becca Lasich is the marketing coordinator for Oklahoma Agritourism.
Rockin' Star Farms, they got an Ag Enhancement and Diversification grant through the Department of Agriculture. That sometimes helps people get a little bit of a leg up if they need a little initial funding to, not lay out that capital, but where we can help them with that. They can go on the Ag Department website for Oklahoma and find out some more information. But basically, farm diversification just allows a farming and ranching family to maybe generate a new revenue stream that will help them make the farm a little bit more the longevity of it a little bit better and make it a little bit more sustainable.
And Pickens says despite a smaller event, she still tries to educate the public.
The first thing that everyone calls is they ask about picking a pumpkin, and I just keep trying to tell people it's so much more than picking a pumpkin, because you can basically pick a pumpkin at Walmart, but when you come out here, you're going to be able to go somewhere that's going to be pretty cheap to bring a whole family to. You can spend the whole day, you're outside, just spending a lot of time together as a family, bonding, and those are things that you can't really put a price on, those memories that you'll cherish forever.
Creating memories and learning new things, all while having fun down on the farm.
Now, after the fall festivities are wrapped up here at Rockin' Star Farms, it's time to get ready for Christmas. The farm will be selling Christmas trees starting right after Thanksgiving.
Now, understand they're also donating money to the United Way.
They did, Rob. They wanted to see how many likes they could get on Facebook, and that would dictate how much money they would give to United Way. After blowing past their initial record, they decided to give 2 checks. They presented United Way with a $500 check and also presented another $500 check to March of Dimes.
All right. Thank you so much, Andy. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Rob.
Want to share something you've seen here today? Well, all of our episodes are streaming on our YouTube channel at Oklahoma Horizon TV, or you can subscribe to our weekly free podcasts on iTunes. Well, as we said earlier, while portions of the state are still in drought, others have had abundant rain. That, combined with cooler nights and shorter days, are likely to create a spectacularly colorful fall foliage season in the state. George Geisler is Oklahoma's state forester.
And then having the leaves still green on the trees at this time, which is most important for that transition to occur. So you're going to see more color, and I think that even Oklahomans, our eyes are so used to the brown, even a faint color is going to stand out to us a whole lot more this year.
Visitors to southeastern Oklahoma's Tallahassee Scenic Byway should be in for a particular treat this year. The drive, which stretches from Tallahassee, Oklahoma to Mena, Arkansas in the Ouachita Forest, is primed for a vibrant display of yellow, oranges, and reds.
The state itself is 44 million acres. We are 28% forested. We have about 12.6 million acres of forest in our state. And it is very surprising when people come here, they don't expect the mountains of eastern Oklahoma, especially around the Talamina Drive and going up towards Tahlequah.
And you can thank our shorter days for the bright fall colors. As leaves receive less sunlight than in the hot summer months, their production of chlorophyll begins to wane, and the greens of spring and summer make their annual transition to the vivid autumn displays most people love. Next time on Oklahoma Horizon, a new industry is taking off in Oklahoma. We'll look at the buzz over unmanned aerial vehicles.
It was phenomenal to see that pile of sticks in that little box with the roll of paper just turn into this huge thing, and now it's flying every bit as good as I could have dreamed. It was really amazing.
Little aircraft with a big potential on Oklahoma Show for the Heartland, Oklahoma Horizon. Well, we are out of time. I'm Rob McClendon. Thanks for watching. See you back here next week.
Horizon is made possible by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education and the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping good people grow good things. Thank you for watching Oklahoma Horizon.